Okay. Hey, what's good, you guys?
Yo. Wow, we're actually on time today. Nice.
Yep, we are on time as scheduled. um, Typological Trends is the name of the stream. Now you
Yes,
might
it
be wondering
is.
why it is. I'm gonna tell you why it is. Because typology comes in waves. It's very interesting. And by what I mean by typology comes in waves is that people's perceptions are kind of what drives typology. And it's interesting, right? People's perceptions is what drives typology, not even the system itself. Because if you really think about it, the system itself is unchanged.
Yeah, it hasn't
It's
changed in such a
people's
long ass time.
perceptions. I nearly fucking spat the screen. Right? People's perceptions that constantly fucking change. And that's what and you see this. We call them trends, typological trends, right?
Uh-huh.
EIE, remember back when EIE was a conqueror? Remember when EIE was a fucking Giga Chat Sigma? Remember that shit?
Uh-huh.
Right? Every conqueror, like they were also geniuses, like hyper like leaders, but also like physically capable. They could do everything. Now, EIE is losing that kind. Now it was SEE. SEEs are the conquerors. They're the leaders. They're also the poets, and it's like, but now it's and then also IE. IE is the true Machiavellian, not the LIE. IE
Oh
is the
my
true
God, I remember
manipulator.
that shit, dude. LIE
Yeah,
was this materialistic schemer who
yeah.
just wants so much money in their pockets, and now it's IEE. IEE is the new LIE in 2025. That shit's crazy.
Yeah. And guys, that's what we're talking about. Trends and that's what people need to understand. Typology is so much more than just like the system. It's circle jerking the fuck out. It's kind of sad because it's all about how do all of us perceive types, and often people will create, this is literally the cycle, create stereotypes, find something new, find a new combination that's cool, create stereotypes or buzzwords, which obviously I'm guilty of too, and then throw it around few times, and everyone's just gonna flock to it. That's what's gonna happen. That's what's gonna happen every time.
And
Yep.
I think one of the interesting parts to this, Rust, is that the ideas they have to be at some level kind of decent, right?
Of course,
Like we
yeah.
we're not up here talking about IEE Social 3 if it was fucking stupid.
No, no, no.
It's not. That
It's
that's what makes this really interesting. Because if it didn't work at some level, if it didn't have potential to it, we wouldn't be fucking talking
But
about
I
it. And
find it
that's
funny
what it
how
makes it really powerful.
I think it's funny how IE Social 3 was really laughed at. And that also shows you the state of people and their perception. It was laughed, it was a joke. But now I see people creating IE Social 3 takes. They send me the link and, oh, watch me, I'm breaking down the IE Social 3. It's
Uh-huh.
and I would say in 6 months IE Social 3 is gonna be the blueprint now. Like, what the fuck's happening? Like, I thought that's why I say, like, you cannot ever get pissed at the typology. You cannot get angry at it because people's ideas will always change. People's perceptions
Hmm.
will always fucking change. So don't. That's why rigidity doesn't pay off because it's not gonna do shit for you. You could be rigid, for example, about gravity and how gravity works. You can, but you cannot be rigid about typology. That shit's always changing, always evolving. People sometimes create new fucking takes. Then maybe they create a take, then they go back on that take and say it's not true anymore, and it's bullshit because I had different access to different knowledge.
Hmm.
It's that's why I don't. I try not to take it too seriously. Like I don't give a fuck about correlations. That's kind of what broke the camel's back. Just don't care about correlations much. Hey yo, type of a hater. What is okay? Okay, sorry. Let me open it. Okay, so wait.
Oh shit, does his name mean typology hater?
Yes,
Oh my
yes.
God,
His
that's
name is
so
Typology Hater.
funny.
Yeah,
Until you said it, it didn't even fucking dawn on me
yeah,
what his fucking name
yeah.
was.
So what is it when we talk about a typological trend? people flocking together creating an idea of a type. For example, EIE. Everyone says that they're conquerors, they're cool, they're leaders, they're manipulators. Now that is creating a trend, and now everyone starts being an EIE. Everyone starts typing as an EIE. EIE is now the cool Machiavellian type, the master manipulator, the blah blah blah. Now people are believing IE is the cool one. EIE is boring. SCE is the conqueror. They're not. SLE ain't a fucking conqueror. It's a sheep. It's a soldier. The SCE is a conqueror. Now, boom.
Oh, that's a good fucking one.
Yeah.
SLE has
Yeah.
become like either you're like this fucking schemer,
Oh,
Al
typowy
Capone
hater.
car salesman, or you're
Okay,
just
typical
literally
hater.
like, yeah, you're just like part of the
Uh,
cogs. You're not, holy fuck,
Yeah, yeah,
bro.
and I feel like SLE SCE is like such a great example because even back a year, 2 years ago, as SLE was like the genuine SE base. I used to, even in my old videos, I remember saying SCE is a discounted SE base. I said that believing it truly because that's the impression of a SCE. I couldn't believe it's an SE base. I'm like, this is not a fucking SE base. But now SLE is the SE minus. They're actually not very expensive. They're not conquerors. They want to keep to themselves. They want to stay in the shadows. SCE though? Hell no. They're the fucking expensive. SE plus, bro. Look at that shit. They're
Dude,
taking,
let's not
you
forget
know?
the underrated TI plus, bro. Symbol of the system. It's in the polar, you know? You fucking want to be the symbol system of the like literally LSC, same TI. You want to be the symbol of the system. EIE, same TI. I want to be a symbol of the system. You know, like everyone else is just fucking living on their own. It's just funny.
And that's the thing. To be honest, people wouldn't even understand what that the SCE is, like a defender of systems and shit, or in implementation. I mean, I can see why they would think it's crazy. And in WSS, it certainly is crazy, you know. Like, but I'm not here. By the way, guys, I'm gonna make a proper breakdown of classic Soxionics very soon. I'm working on it right now. The script is being done. Tomorrow I might be able to release part 1 of the video, and it's gonna be a very juicy fucking video. I'm gonna break down
Nice.
mental vital. I'm gonna break down the elements. I'm gonna break down we're gonna break down the structures because there's so much people throw types for each other without that are really dumb without really understanding shit, even the basics. So we will break down the actual basics. Now, if you understand them, they'll change the way you type. They'll change the way you approach everything. Because trust me, that shit is so fucking easy. Like, if you know mental vital, and then even the concept of the dichotomy, static and dynamic, takes a different meaning. Because now I'm like, okay, holy shit. So static types are the ones that have static elements in the mental ring. Well, that's very easy, right? It becomes piss simple. We're gonna do that though. We're gonna work on that. Okay. 1, the respectable, the unsophisticated. 3, the forgettable, interesting, the I don't know what this is. Hi, Rusted. Hello, Hack. How can you distinguish an ESFJ if they look? I'm talking about ESFP with developed FE. There's no such thing as an ESFP with developed FE. You know, fuck. How can we even answer this question if we wanted to?
You wanted like an
Like
MBTI or
like an actual answer. Like how do you distinguish ESFJ and ESFP? Like unironically, like an unironic, simple way for in your opinion to tell the difference. I know we don't like MBTI, but what advice would you give in this situation?
it's really when it comes down to it, right? If we're talking about like socionics, dynamic versus static is really easy.
Nah, he's talking
You're
about
look
MBTI.
In MBTI, you're looking at someone who's making judgments versus someone who's perceiving.
Hmm.
So when you're dealing with someone who is an
Okay.
FE base, right?
Yeah. FE demo.
They
FE
they
dom. Yeah.
they have values, right? They have specific emotions. They have like a criteria that they want to fulfill in the world, right? Whereas an ESFP, they don't have these same type of criteria. they go with their experiences instead. They lock into their five senses, and if they do make a judgment, it's based off of how they personally feel and relate to others. Where with the ESFJ, it's more about how the depends on
People's
which MBTI you're really
emotional
talking about.
states, people's emotions, the
Yeah,
environment, how people are feeling, being very attuned to
yeah.
it,
How the
accessing it. The
past affects the
ESFP,
present.
yeah, the ESFP wouldn't really be half as concerned, with any of that. I think you could not confuse ESFJ for a thinking type. I don't even think it's fucking possible. Like, holy shit. But I think with an ESFP, you can confuse them for a thinking type in MBTI, by MBTI points. So that could maybe even help you, you know. I mean, I am an ESFP by cognition. I would never think I'm thinking like a feeling type in MBTI by standards. Like, oh, I care about everyone's feelings. I don't want to offend people. That kind of bullshit. Never related to it. But I hopefully Ring answered your question. Typowy hater. Could you explain, aka the mod decapitator? That's your title, by the way. The mod decapitator. Okay. Let me see something. Okay, so could you explain how FI works in SLE compared to SEE and ESI? I'm kind of rethinking my typology. How FI works in SLE compared to SEE and SLE. So when you're looking at FI in SLE, you're dealing with superego FI. When you're looking at the SCE and ESI, you're now looking at ego block FI. And the way this shit works, especially with SCE, is that it's in the creative spot. The truth is, the way SLE perceives relationships, psychological distance, how relationships should be treated is very rigid. It's incredibly rigid. The SCE is very flexible. So, this is why, like, unrelated example, why the IE is considered the Don Juan who plays with people's hearts. He makes you like him, he fucks off. You think you're besties, he doesn't give two fucks. He moves on. He plays with people because that's what the creative can do. It sets new standards of how to deal with relationships. You decide how relationships should be dealt with or whatever. Now the SLE, it's difficult. It's like they have certain objective standards of what a relationship is like, and they're rigid. They cannot tolerate people coming in and out of their life. They hate when relationships change. I think an SLE can have a very hard time letting go of people because if we're friends, we're friends. They will have such a rigid idea of FI compared to the SEE and ESI. ESI and SEE, they can manipulate relations. ESI can do that shit too. And not only that, the SLE's understanding is lacking in any nuance. ESI is very nuanced, and people think ESI is rigid with FI. It isn't. They're not truly rigid. This is someone who actually is able to see and understand relationships in a very complex way. It's not just you are good, you are bad. This is not the ESI. It's more likely to be the SLE. ESIs are not that fucking simplistic. My experience is that ESIs often have a very nuanced and complex idea of people's character, if someone's bad, good, very, very much so. Okay. The reason why I'm going to ask this because I tend to get confused, and I've done this before with Ronaldo and KSI, which are ESFJ. Conor McGregor, who is ESFP. From what I understand, ESSX2, ESFJ are very outgoing. Don't look at outgoing, don't perceive it as such. But if I was you, I would ditch MBTI completely and focus on your socionics type. You will definitely thank us later. When it comes to MBTI letters, yeah, in a sense, if you want to use MBTI, I think you'd be better off. Okay, this is for Ring. How does NI creative work? You can't do anything with time. You can play with objects, SE, you can mess with people, FI or FE, and you can even play with logic. But how to be creative with time? Ring? Is he here? Hello? Oh, holy shit. Okay. He just got a call. Okay, so I'm like, what the fuck? Where is he? I did lock him up in a basement. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. But he is gonna be right back. He just got a work call probably. So let's keep this question on the hold. But you know what's funny? Because I did think about this question. Because people say, oh, like, how you manipulate time. And I'm like, you're not fucking Doctor Strange. How are you gonna manipulate time? The truth is, you cannot control time in any way, right? Like, time just goes. I think what it means is managing time. Maybe that's what it means. How to manage time in a way that it works in your favor. Maybe that's what it means. I have no idea. RDP, what's up, RDP? I was watching this movie called Dinner in America, and the main character is this SE sexual late guy who just looks just like you. I guess SEs look all the same. You know, they create us in factories. You know, it's holy shit. It's boring. That's the reality check. You think you're like, oh, you know. No, there's like fucking and just watch any bad boy character in a movie or some shit wearing a leather jacket and, you know, some bullshit like that. There you go, you know, cliche, basic as fuck. He's gone. By the way, we will go back to your NI creative comment. Don't worry. He's just. Why doesn't he tell them to fuck off? He should say that he's streaming. Oh my god, holy fuck. Okay. I'm considering just typing people through Psychosophy instead. Yes, seriously. No, okay, Hack, if you want my honest opinion, do not entertain MBTI typing for people at all. I never do. I never think, what is their MBTI? I don't do that. It doesn't exist. I do Socionics, I do Enneagram, I do Psychosophy. I will even do like Big Five and other shit if I'm interested, whatever, but never just MBTI. It's shit. Okay, are you back?
Yeah, I'm back.
Yeah, they were harassing you, right? They were like fucking calling you and shit.
On what? What happened? What happened, huh?
No, I'm saying those people who are calling you, right?
Oh yeah, no, that's work. Yeah, to be fair, right? I always do these during work, so.
By the way, we have a good question for you. You can cook. How does NI creative work, basically? Do you see the question?
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
How does NI creative work? Like, you can't do anything with time. You can play with objects, mess with people.
That's a good question.
Play with logic, but how to be creative with time? Oh boy, bro. That's so interesting. You can't actually see the different ways you can kind of manipulate time to your advantage. Like, this could be as simple as, if I want to delay when let's say I have a project deliverable. I'm in my work zone right now, right? And I need to deliver this thing by Wednesday, right? And I don't want to really work on it until Thursday. What I would do is I would initially talk to them about delivering it for Wednesday, but then talk about all these additional actions that it would take to really reach a high quality project. And at the day of Wednesday, I would be like, this will be returned actually early tomorrow, which would be Thursday. And then I would manipulate the time in which I would deliver it a little bit earlier than Thursday, maybe that day of, or really early Thursday instead of like midday Wednesday. Does that make sense? It's kind of like really weird stuff like that, to be honest with you.
But you're not sure, okay, but the principle is that you're not actually manipulating time. You are working with time in your advantage, to your advantage. That's the whole point, right?
Yes. So it's really having a really strong grasp on how long something is going to actually take, and then playing with everyone's expectations on how long something should take. If it takes you like 5 minutes to go out to 7-Eleven to pick up a drink and then come back home, right?
Okay.
But you tell other people, oh yeah, I'll be back in like 20 minutes.
Oh fuck, yeah, I do that. I'm like, yeah, I'll be back in half an hour. 3 hours later.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, you're a great example of how we can define this, okay? Let's literally use the 7-Eleven one, okay? 7-Eleven is a market for anyone else like asking. It's like a place where you can pick up shit, right? If it takes you 5 minutes to go outside, get a drink from 7-Eleven, and come back, but if you tell someone else it's actually going to take you 20 minutes, which seems reasonable, most people won't question you on 20 minutes, and you go and do that, you now have 15 minutes of unaccounted time in which you can do other things. The exact opposite happens with like Russ and other people with low NI, where they think it's gonna take like 20 minutes and it actually takes 3 hours. So they become in the deficit instead.
My issue though with it is that how can you know how long it will take though? Like I don't know. I haven't done it before ever. For example, like I never went to the same place in that same circumstance. How can I know if it's gonna take me 10 minutes or 5 minutes? Like I don't know. Like I will try to have approximate idea, but it's very vague and can very.
Yeah, this is a good question. I think a lot of NI people who self-describe as like NI egos will tell you something like, like some mystical spiritual thing. Honestly, I think that NI is actually really boring. A lot of times you can derive how long something will take by have done something similar in the past.
That right? That's kind of how this works. For example, if I go to the cinema, like I go with my wife to the cinema, right? There's one cinema, and we always go at the same time. Because we kind of figure out that's how much it will take. Although lately, I remember last time we still barely made it. Even though we kind of went at the right time, we still barely fucking made it. It was like, what the fuck? Is it the traffic? And then we were pissed at the traffic. We're like, are you serious?
Yeah.
Are you fucking serious right now? Because we didn't take into account traffic, for example.
Yeah. If you want like raw synthesis, how the IME looks like, when I ever have to think about how long something takes, within like a second or two, I can just quickly imagine what it would take to get to that point. Like really, really quickly. And a lot of it's based off of like
to other functions more than other functions because ring speech sounds very NIT.
That's the problem. I keep telling people this is so funny. It's
because
so topical.
It's blocked. You don't think about a single element. That's why we talk in blocks. Things are blocked in a way.
It's such a problem.
Yeah. I will talk about it, by the way, when I make my socionics video. I'm gonna explain the blocks. Like what the fuck they mean. Like NITE, fucking NETI. What happens when you have NETI blocked in SE and like an SE and an ILE? It's gonna be discussed for sure because this is very underrated because he's right. NITE. Works very different than fucking NIFE.
Yep. That's exactly I get this question a lot. Like, how does NI look for you? And I always feel like it's a good question, but it's bad. It's also a bad question because that feels such a like an artificial thing to ask me. It's actually easier for me to tell you when I'm not using NI than it is when I am using it because everything I do has a criteria of how long something should take. What are the reasonable developments one should have? What is expected from this outcome? What is the amount of things something should or should not be like done within a certain these type of things are always on my mind. And you are completely right. Every NI metabolism conclusion I can give you is always going to be like riddled with the actions. If you ask an EIE, we'll have like things in common, but the reality is they're less driven by the rational usage of actions and the sequences to derive some sort of efficient or inefficient, rational or irrational sequence of events.
But so it makes sense though, right? Because
it's completely
an element cannot exist in isolation. He exists in this kind of form of blocks and interacting with other elements and stuff like that,
Yeah. So I really like telling you, I don't ever sit there and be like, how long is this gonna take? Like I never that should happen so fast. Like everything I do is riddled with that. But if you ask me about FE and SI, that shit's fucking easy. I'll be like, oh yeah, I was when I go to like a party or when I'm on the stream, I really try to moderate exactly how I say things. I want to make sure it comes across very clear and there's no misunderstandings, but I also want to be fun. And like that to me, that's such a like in itself in a vacuum, I can do FE. I can do SI in a vacuum. You got to take care of your health, you know? You got to be this person who gives a shit about how people's comfort is. You don't want to be that asshole that makes people uncomfortable, you know? Like that shit's easy. You ask me where does NI begin? I'm like it doesn't. It's
Mhm.
always there, you know? And so
It's
that's why
supposed
I
to,
always find it
yeah.
so interesting.
I mean, it's like, how do you isolate just that thing in your psyche? You don't. It's constantly on. It's
Hmm.
constantly lifting heavy.
Yeah,
People.
even in SES, that's actually one of the indicators I'm literally talking about the school here. That when they type, one of the indicators they use for a high dimension like IME, they look at how often that IME mixes with other IMEs.
Hmm, we were learning something more about the school. Can an ESFJ or ISFJ or like an ENFP develop good SC even though it's not their function stack? Every person can have good SC. If by good SC, for example, you mean, oh, she dresses really nicely, she has a very good sense of aesthetics. Look how determined and willful this person is. Of course, you can have good SC, you can have good TI, you can be an ESFP with good TI, meaning you understand systems, you've learned them in school, you've been in academia, you understand that. But does that really just indicate good? What does that? We don't look at good, really. Good, bad. We look at your attitude towards an element, towards a function. So your attitude towards the function is more important if good or not good. So if and I'll tell you this, an EII can be the most beautiful woman ever, dressed impeccably, dressed the best dressed woman in the fucking place. She is SE vulnerable. That's weak SE, and SE is related to fucking aesthetics. So what does that say? Because it's not about good or bad. She learns all of her SE information from objective source, trends, what looks good, what doesn't look good, what's acceptable. She understands that. you know she looks good, but it's her attitude towards SC that is riddled with rigidity, that's riddled with conventionalism, that's riddled with adaptation to what is acceptable socially. That is what it is. This rigidity, this sensitivity, this insecurity, that's what it is. Asger Brach, what are your types? Damn, dude, this dude has his fucking back. I know you. You're the SPA, right? Well, not anymore. But I type as an SCE, VFLE, Social 8. Is there anything else that I type as? You get the fucking point. You'll figure out the rest. What are the main differences between NE and SE in the real world? It's such a good question, Ring, because people don't understand it, right? People often
Yep.
confuse it. They think it's like NE is SE is really party going, geeky, like stupid. NE is more like woo, ideas, possibilities. Ring, how would you tackle this question?
Yeah. Um, what happens is that there's actually almost mutual like misunderstandings between NE and SE where we're applying things that are in NE to SE.
Yeah,
Like for
right.
example, being able to evaluate someone's physical capabilities is not SE. That is NE in socionics.
Yeah, that's crazy. That
Yeah.
is crazy. People would never guess this
However,
shit.
however, in SE, right?
Yep.
Being able to tell someone's determination, the feasibility of their goals, their ability to push through and endure, that's more SE. That's like their willfulness is a lot more SE. Um, Overall,
Hmm.
NE is really looking to figure out what you are capable of
Yeah. What you can become.
physically,
Yeah.
intellectually,
Yeah.
what it is that is an innate potentiality, right? SE, it's about taking you for what you literally are. What physical characteristics that you have? What physical resources do you have? Money is SE, not TE, by the way, boys. SE. What physical characteristics you have? What physical resources do you have? And that extends to someone's determination. And overall, SE is more about goals than TE is. Yes, SE is more about goals than
Yep.
TE is, which is really interesting. Yeah. So, but you one of the reasons why people have a hard time differentiating these, which is funny. It's like this is equivalent of like what's the difference between TE and FE? That's how different they are. You know, and I think that's really fucking funny. One of the problems is that everyone who is an SE base is also NE role. Anyone who's an NE base is also SE role. So they'll sometimes sprinkle in
Yeah.
both of those things in the same
Yeah.
conversation, and you're just like, what? You know, like
Yeah.
you're first talking about your physical capabilities, and now you're talking about how much money you have in your pocket. That's both SE right there. That even though that's actually one part SE, one part NE there. Physical capabilities NE, money in pocket SE. So that's why it also leads to additional confusion, but they are divided differently. And that's good to note, you know?
That's great
So
breakdown.
yeah, before I keep talking more about it.
Is 1L3 1L first step very suitable for TI Polar? Very suitable for TI Polar? Probably not. But I'm not here to gatekeep your placement subtypes. You know, I just don't think it's. If you fit it, you fit it. You know, I'm not gonna be here and tell you if it's like super suitable. I mean, I don't see why it cannot work. There's no contradiction. What enneagram socionics type can be FELV? FVLE is like pretty sure it's accepted SP3. FELV isn't that like some sexual 9 SEI something like that? Do you know any other correlations, Ring?
For FVLE, some people were debating social 9 for FELV. Some
Oh,
people were
FVLE, yeah,
debating
FVLE
SP2.
social 9. I've heard of this, yeah.
Yeah, SP2 for FELV as well. Um, Celestial and I had this conversation a couple of weeks ago for like a hypothetical FVLE that doesn't seem awful once you really think about it, but a really mature, more pro-social SP7 could technically be an FVLE, but that's like really, really rare.
Is IE sexual 3 a mistyped invalid combination? It doesn't work very well. I would think you would have more luck with EII.
Yeah,
Actually,
that's a new one coming out.
yeah,
EII Sexual 3.
you know what? You know what? You know what? We're gonna make Type Watch. I'm gonna make a new video on Type Watch, and all the new
Mm-hmm.
possible combinations that might be spicy, might be dicey, will be being dropped. Stay tuned for that shit. It's gonna happen soon. But EII Sexual 3 any fucking day over IE Sexual 3. And I'm gonna tell you something more. You want a real life example of EII Sexual 3? Don't ask twice. Merlin Mon motherfucking Row. EII Sexual 3. Easy. Just like
Shit's
that.
so cool, bro. This is why I keep telling people stop reducing correlations. We should be looking to reasonably increase them. Just like a couple of months ago, if you told someone IEE is sexual 3, they would laugh
I
at
still
you,
don't
they
like
would
the SLE
belittle you.
correlations though. Because SCE has like five fucking combinations, four combinations. When the SLE has only one. I still call bullshit on that. I don't like that shit. It makes no fucking sense. So yeah, we need to add some fucking combinations to the SLE. There's no way around it. How the
Yeah.
fuck is the SCE having multiple fucking combinations and the SLE has only fucking one? SP8.
Okay. Okay. Hear me out. Hear me out. I do have a theory on that, right? I think I do agree with you. SLE and LIE needs more combinations, but one of the reasons why I think SEE and IEE get like the fuck ton of fucking different like Enneagram types is I think that both of them are kind of adaptable
Okay, so the
in different ways.
manifestation is more
Mhm.
like
Varied.
varied.
I
Okay.
think ethical types in general have more combinations because of the ethics being a lot more different in manifestations than I would say a logical type is. But that's just like a theory. Don't hold me to that. That's what I'm fucking thinking. Like, let's think SEE. Current proposed combinations, proposed, not rules.
Yeah.
SEE social 2, SEE sexual 4,
Oh my god. Yeah.
SEE practically every E8.
Yep.
When we have IEE, we have IEE social 2. That's been proposed. IEE social 3. That's been proposed.
Fuck.
IEE sexual 4.
Oh.
That's been proposed.
Oh
Every
yeah.
single E7.
Yep. It's a mess. IE correlations are a fucking mess. Holy shit.
And the problem is, right, Russ, we were talking about this earlier. There are merit to this.
There is.
Um,
There
there's
is.
merit to this because IEE is a very we talked about SE being kind of like
Yep.
have multiple manifestations.
Yeah.
IEE in most of the descriptions that you will see, like I was reading about strats like IEE, super adaptable, super intelligent, yet somehow a slacker, but also is like rigid with values. It's kind of all over the place. It's practically a build what you want type. Do you want to be a Machiavellian? IEE. You want to be a slacker? IEE. You
Wow.
want to be like a charismatic
Yeah,
like
Don
Don
Juan.
Juan?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
IEE.
Yeah.
You want to be fucking like rigid? You want to be like a
Yep.
theory rigid
Yep.
science
Yep.
person? IEE. You can
Yeah.
fit so much to IEE, and that's why currently IEE is like the space between all things. You
That's
can justify, I'm pretty sure, half the Enneagram sometimes with
yeah.
IEE because of how adaptable it is.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if you could fucking justify Anagram 8 somehow twist that shit, be like, yeah, yeah, you know. It's crazy. It's actually crazy.
Sexual 9 maybe,
Yeah, it's
like
crazy.
IEE, like if we're gonna do sexual 4, like clearly there's like an SX connection with IE with a sexual 7. You can do a lot with it. Now, what I think you and I both agree with is what we don't like is to make like IEE like the new 3V, and that's what
Yeah, of
I
course
think
you
we've
don't want to
both been
do that,
seeing.
you know.
Like every time, and I've seen it too. Every time someone doesn't like somebody, right? Or they're
Oh
like,
god, I know. I mean, we know what it is. It's a hate type. And
yeah,
how many
they'll
times have
hate
we
type
said
you
that?
IEE
How
now.
many times have we said that 1V is more cringe than 3V? How many?
Yeah,
If you are thinking of someone who's entitled, almost like a toddler, you're not thinking of a 3V in many ways. You're thinking of a 1V. But still, the fatherless, incel-driven individuals still think 1V is a god. It's a sigma. It's a sigma
yes,
who is
it's
uncaring.
a Sigma,
He
bro.
doesn't give two fucks about his reputation. He doesn't even care what anyone ever thinks. You can do anything to him, he doesn't care because he's a Sigma. In reality, 1V is gonna fucking probably silence you and get your fucking head decapitated because you said something he didn't fucking appreciate in any way, shape, or form. That's a true fucking first will individual, as described in the syntax of love. They're sensitive, and you're supposed to be sensitive in your first placement. Okay?
Yep.
That's just in that sense, it's normal. When you have abundance of will, you know, there is certain type of sensitivity, not like the type of 3V that they have that type of sensitivity, but they have their own. So, you know, let's not turn this IE shit into another 3V type, you know. I don't, someone's cringe, corny, reactive, annoying, IE 3V. It's bullshit.
Yeah, it's so funny, Russ, because you can kind of justify almost anybody into IEE because IEE is this actor, manipulator, secret Machiavellian who can get into your feelings, tell you exactly what you need to say, and can come across as any archetype
Yeah,
of person.
yeah,
So if you're a smart guy, if someone dislikes you, you're an IEE now. You're just LARPing
yeah,
as a smart guy.
yeah, yeah.
It's like how old, like we said earlier, how old EIE was. Old EIE, sexual 4, social 2, social 1. You can be anything you want. Social 7. You can be any EIE. And even if you were, even you, Russ, even if you were SLE, SEE back then, right?
Yeah,
Someone would, I guarantee you got EIE accusations.
yeah.
Everyone did. And IEE, I don't want to see it happen going down that same path of
I mean, I'm pretty
every
sure
time someone
even I
dislikes you,
have
you're
I have them
IEE.
now. I have them at some point. I probably had them now. Not
Hmm.
often, but I had them. It's like what the fuck? Everyone is an EIE, you know? Like okay, he has a channel.
Yep.
He talks to. He's an EIE. It's just such a cop out. But you know, let's move on to other questions that are as juicy. I just don't understand
Yep.
how am I leading? could be 3E if they're shameless in sharing their attraction and repulsion. So, I've heard this question many, many times. I type my wife, ESI. 3E is a motherfucker. Now, what's the rationale, right? ESI is still someone who doesn't want to burden other people with his emotions. They can be stoic, they can be cold. It is not really problematic for the ESI. They don't want to express their emotions and burden the environment, burden you. So they keep this shit to themselves. This is not very weird for 3E. This is very good for 3E. Okay, incredibly good for 3E. So just because the FI leading is shameless in what he likes or who he loves, this is you're still not. It is still way worse than saying 3E fits FI creative, because that's even worse. Because FI creative is even more fucking loud about what they like, who they hate, who they love. Because at the end of the day, ESI is still FE motherfucking minus, and that is still more conservative in its nature. That's my take. Maybe Ring has his own. Do you have your own take on this?
I agree. It's literally, it makes complete sense, and FE's on their, restricting as well. So you have someone who's ready to be programmed,
Literally submitting to the fucking environment,
Every single FI base I know, they're always waiting for me to do something, like in the external emotional sphere. You literally, like, you go into like a conversation with them, and they will literally just match you. If you're dead silent, they'll be like dead silent. But if you go start laughing, you go giggly, smiley, happy, the saddest ESI will literally start matching you with that. I've seen EIIs who have FE negative, right? The, blocked with fucking NI. If you program them with like happy emotions, they will literally do the same thing backwards, which I think is hilarious to see, like a big jokey like EII who's naturally a little bit more melancholic than even the ESI being this jokester. But they're so programmable. That's the thing. And they're kind of waiting on you unconsciously to give them that type of program. Or they'll just be quiet.
So true. I mean, I know one of the things that me and my wife, we talk about, I'm an SE, she's an ESI. The big difference is I want to express myself however I want to express myself. It's not like, I'm not saying I'm going crazy in public or acting fucking crazy. But, I do talk loudly, I have I don't know how to talk that quietly and shit, whatever the fuck. Sure, yeah. But I see no problem with it. It's like, yeah, I'm not fucking harming anyone, so why the fuck is this a problem? But to her, it's like, she can feel so uncomfortable. It's like, she almost wants to become invisible in that environment. It's not about her being bothered as much as she does. What bothers her is that other people might be bothered. And I'm not thinking about that much, because I'm like, I'm not yelling. I'm not like, going crazy, because even I don't like that shit. Some people on a fucking train or a bus spurging the fuck out, yelling like apes. I don't like that shit. It's cringe. But I'm just talking about expressing yourself in a human way. I think you should feel free to do that. I think it's good. You should not be restricted, but in some type of way. But so there's a difference in how we approach that kind of shit. But I would never type of something else. She is billion times more 3E than I ever would. Even unironically, as an 8 core, she's more cope the fuck out about showing her emotions than me. It's like, dude, just tell me what you feel. Let's get this over with. Tell me what you feel. Let's just say it. It's not that serious. Just say it. However you feel, just say it. But it's like, it is that serious, and you cannot minimize it. So there's a difference.
Yeah, being a 4E in a relationship with like a 1E is actually fucking nice,
Yeah.
Because the person that I'm with, they have top emotions, top physics, in
So they just
particular
express that
EF.
shit.
Yeah. No, the way it is that, like, there is almost like a precedent that whatever they're feeling, that is literally the law of the land. But here's the thing, it's like something that is always known, it's present, it's something that they can't hide, it's always on their face, and they're not really trying to hide it either. So it makes it easier to work with. I'm very adaptable to this type of emotions because it doesn't bother me. When someone's being dramatic, it doesn't really bother me as much. But when someone is actively like, um trying to like make you feel like this awful way, then yeah, of course that affects everybody. But in
Yeah,
general, like people who are passionate, have big emotions, who swap between a lot of different emotions, just like you. You're also 4E. I'm like, okay, cool. I guess we're going this way now, huh?
yeah.
I guess we're happy
I
about
just
this.
don't
Oh,
think
okay.
I don't think it's that serious. I think
Hmm.
I think within reason, I don't think it's that serious at all. But this, I feel like this can seem invalidating because if I say, yeah, just tell me how you feel, it's and you have this almost. I've been accused of having this nonchalant attitude, like careless attitude towards
Hmm.
feelings and emotions, which is probably my own kind of cope and whatever, right? But
Yeah.
it is not ideal sometimes when the person really, it's serious to them. It's not just, oh, it's just feelings. It's very serious. So it has its own fucking issues. Let me see what can where can we read the best descriptions of the core enneagram types, because in the books I often just see subtypes. Probably Character and the Roses is like a whole book you can read, but there are other books, Naranjo books, that are good. 20, although it's just subtypes mainly. To be honest,
Character neurosis.
it is, right? It's like the proper, like the biggest,
Yeah.
most elaborated. Just okay, Google Character and Neurosis by
Yep.
Naranjo PDF. Easy peasy,
Yep.
lemonade, the fuck squeezy. Don't even need to pay $5 for that shit. It's free advice. People arguing about SX5. Who gives a fuck? I agree though. II SX5 can seem weird. It's not that. So it's more of an internal thing for FI leading. I thought since they were egoed someone that they shamelessly share this aspect. If someone they would just share easily without warning to hide. No, I
Yeah,
think
there's a difference
yeah,
between sharing sentiments,
yeah,
like moral values,
right.
than it is expressing, like, okay, here, Cosmic, okay? Here is a moral value. I think people should not harm each other. Okay?
Yep,
That is an FI judgment, right?
yep.
Here is an FE kind of like situation. I don't think people should harm each other. The difference is the tone and the emotion. It's not the underlying judgment itself, the value, it's the actual feeling that you feel in your face and your body. FI bases will not give you the second, they'll give you the first. And they'll kind of shamelessly tell you the first. But the second, they won't go out of their way to be like these up and loud individuals, you know? So that's like there's a difference between FE and FE and FI.
Based. What's the difference, Ring, between Enneagram 4 and Enneagram 3 Envy? I feel like this
E4.
question is weird because it's like it doesn't mean like envy is the passion of the four, and it's not just like I feel envy. It's a sense of brokenness that's inherent to you. It's a fucking sense of dissatisfaction that you are lacking. It's a feeling of lacking. It is so existential that it runs deeper than just that I wish I had the same fucking dress as this person, right? Runs so fucking deep. It basically dictates their whole worldview. That's the envy of the four, at least as a passion, right? The three core is just envious, like any other motherfucking image core, image type, whatever the fuck. That's how I view it.
Yeah, it's I think one thing, Bruno, that you're gonna really like is you need to understand that for the E4, envy is a part of their personality. It's not just a thing that happens to them. Being in this state of like desiring of the qualities or situations that the other has and being at that disadvantage is part of the E4's cognition. They literally are attached to being envious, which is a huge thing.
There you go. It's funny because if they let go of this feeling, they feel like they will not be unique. They feel like they're not gonna have the same depth. So that the cycle just continues. It's such a fucked up thing. I really feel. Do you this is gonna be arrogant, but I kind of sometimes look at different neuroses and I feel like, holy shit, you know, like you guys have it really fucking hard, you know. I don't know. I that's how I feel. I look at every fucking neuroses and I'm like, I'm so glad I'm not you, you know. Like it's just a feeling like, dude, wow, envy, this, my identity, that, my image, that, my this, that. It's just so weird for me to. I like my life, and I think my life is so easy. You know, in terms of like to be me, it's the easiest thing in the world. And I don't know, but again, maybe I'm being delusional right now, but that's how I feel. Holy shit, it's an easy life, you know. But I know it's like we all have all of our points and all of our types are bad in a sense that it's hard to be us, or like we have flaws, whatever the fuck. But I feel like, yes, we all have flaws, and no one's perfect. But who cares? I'm not perfect, yes. It's just I accept my flaws. I'm not gonna let my flaws define me or make me feel some type of way. What the fuck's the point of that? Move on. You have bad feelings? Stop having bad feelings. Isn't that so marvelously good and easy? You know? I'm weak. Don't be weak. Be strong. I'm dumb. Don't be dumb. Be smart. Life is so goddamn motherfucking simple. Ring, what type is your girlfriend?
She is a sexual 4, ESI, EFVL.
Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm. Maybe I'm misunderstanding. I think you are misunderstanding the difference between the leading and creative, because also remember that the leading is accepting element and the fucking creative is a producing element. The truth is, an SE base attitude to SE can seem even more loose because they're observing and accepting information. They're gathering information in their leading, you know? So the SE base might not be as fucking prickly and pedantic and rigid about SE matters, about what looks good, what doesn't. The SE creative, like the LSI, for example, can be incredibly, like, fucking prickly, not tolerate different fucking outcomes and be like, that's actually like shit, this looks like shit, you know. That's the difference, motherfucker. But that's the difference. But don't
Yeah,
worry,
this is really funny.
we're gonna make a video on that.
Russ and I had this conversation a lot, right? So Russ is SE base.
Yeah.
Okay. We're in the same quadrant, right? So Russ is SE base, his dual is SE suggestive. Your lead is really open-minded. Your lead is still authoritative, but it allows expression. You're less attached to like some sort of self-evaluation from others, you know, where your creative is like kind of like prickly, like you want to show off,
You
like
want
you
to
want
be
to show that you
original.
can do
Look at
stuff.
me, I'm showing off
You
how I can
look at
use
me,
this.
you know, it kind of has that aspect to it, but the base is not. The base is giga chilling, right? So Rust SE base, right,
Yeah.
versus let's say an ESI like his wife SE creative, and it makes complete sense why Rust has this attitude towards I don't know how people dress, how they look like fashion, right? See, the ESI who has SE creative, their dual is SE mobilizing. They dress well, they're handsome, they know how to present things, they care about the way they look. Meanwhile, you have the SEE with their dual, the ILI, where the ILI's peak fashion is wearing anime
It's
t-shirts
bums,
and,
pew
you know,
bum. It's a pew bum.
pure bum. He
Yeah.
has to. He's programmed to have to be okay with
That's
that.
why I can literally look like a bum, and I can literally look like a fucking bum. Stained fucking pants. I look like shit. My wife tells me I look like shit. I tell myself I look like shit. And I'm like, that's great. I want to be a bum. I'm gonna be a bum. That's how I feel. And I'm just not as attached like some people. Like, this color looks bad, or I'm just kind of like, well, fuck it. Do what, kind of fuck with it, you know? Like, I don't know. I think there's a time and place for that kind of thing. We're not runaway models anyway, so fuck, man. Just do what.
Yeah, not
what
everyone can be like ESIs and LIEs
yeah,
who
and
are
I don't
extremely well dressed.
extremely well dressed, and it's so like. Yes, my pants are stained of ketchup because I was eating. Fucking who cares, man? It's just they're just sweatpants. They're supposed to be dirty. It's like, who gives a shit? But It's just funny, you know.
Russ is making some ILI out there with no sense of style and
Literally,
hygiene.
all
Very
black,
happy right now. It's like,
wearing
hell
all
yeah.
black. It's to me, it really doesn't matter. I'm more interested in, you know, like listen to me. It's like you have your style. You look the way you want to look, and if you want feedback, I'm gonna give you feedback. I'm gonna obviously help you. But I'm also not gonna be there like, holy shit, you know, wow, you're wearing only black. It's like, yeah, black's a cool color. I fucking love black. So, you know, like my style is my style. You should have your style. I think we all should have some style, you know. But make it your own. Oh, that's impossible. If you, as you suggested, but at least try. You take inspiration. I always say, take inspiration. There's nothing wrong with that. Take inspiration. If you want an example of an ESI and SEE morals, watch Mark and Oliver and Invincible's latest season, ESI and
No
SEE
spoilers.
respectively.
I haven't watched yet.
I
Before
think
people start dropping spoilers.
isn't like Oliver just being like, they're bad, let's kill them all, decapitate, and Mark's like, no, how you gonna kill people?
That FI base,
Yeah,
that
like, how can
open-minded
you kill?
FI base.
If you kill them, you'll be just like them. And Oliver's like, what? Who gives a fuck? We need to kill them. It's like, who gives a shit if I'm gonna be just like them? They will be dead. They will be dead. You know. But what is the FI placement if you have Alexithymia? This is not an FI placement, it's probably more of an FE placement, and you can say it's in the vital ring, most likely unconscious, aka demonstrative, mobilizing, suggestive, ignoring. That's probably where you are dealing with a bit of alexithymia. But I don't want to, you know, have a condition like that be subscribed to one element. It's not good. What element and function description do you feel like is the most problematic to understand and looks seemingly unrelated? I feel like TI sometimes. Right? Ring, what you think? You think kind of TI and what it's supposed to be is very misleading? Because people think logic. What's it's logic. In reality, it's like leverage and position and hierarchy and, you know, like place in space or some shit. It's crazy. Ring!
Hey, what's up?
What you mean, what the fuck's up? Did you hear what the fuck I was saying?
No, I'll be honest with you. I get zoned out. What happened?
You fucking zoned out? Why? You at fucking ILI now? Holy shit.
My bad, bro. Let me lock it. Let me lock it
element?
right now.
Which element and function description do you feel like is the most problematic to understand and looks seemingly unrelated to the fucking element itself? I said TI. Because I feel like sometimes you read TI, you think logic. But it's actually like positions, hierarchies, and even personal needs. Did you know, guys, that TI has to do with your personal needs? That's fucking insane, isn't it? That's insane.
I agree with you. TI is the fucking one. That shit's so fucking annoying.
Are there any types who are necessarily socially introverted? Yes, there are. Enneagram 2 is socially extroverted. Enneagram 3, I think, is supposed to be socially extroverted. I think Enneagram 8 is supposed to be socially extroverted. I think there are types, you know. Yeah, I would say so. Seem very but I wouldn't give a fuck about that, to be honest. I personally wouldn't give a shit about that, mainly because like, oh, how socially extroverted you are. And it's like, take me. I'm someone who would score very high on extroversion when it comes to Big 5. 100%. Fucking 98 percentile, some shit. High as fuck, right? But when you're talking about social extroversion, what do you mean? That I'm very eager to meet people and I want to hang out around people all the time. And I'm that way. I'm very active. Active in the social realm, that I want to keep finding new friends, new connections. Is that social extroversion? Or is it that when I'm in one, I'm very gregarious, energetic, assertive, cheerful, blah 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 blah. Which one are you picking? You know, so that's the thing. It's like depends what do you mean by social extroversion. I'm an extroverted person, but I'm also one of the people. I'm not interested in meeting people I don't fucking know. I'm not even interested in meeting new people. I don't give a fuck. Why should I? And that's my shit. You know. I'm here for motherfucking business. That's it. That's it. I don't know you. Why the fuck would I want to get to know you? That's my question. Why? Why? Now, let's move forward. Yo, what's up, Paul? That's typical Daredevil and Punisher, even though Punisher is more SLE. Punisher is an SLE. And people say he's an SPA. Is he the best example of SPA? Not at all. I would even say he's not. Yeah, I think he's not a very good example of an SPA, in my opinion, genuinely, because the guy is he's just so serious and so like inexpressive in many ways. He lacks many of the fundamental qualities of a self-preservation 8, which is being a fucking car salesman who gets the deals done. This is not the fucking Punisher, okay? So he's not the best example. How to compare the blocks? It suggested that a super block can seem like the ego in a developed individual. You're reaching though, because that's where you're starting to be like, okay, I this is not my super ego. I'm just, I'm just developed. It looks like my ego. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. I don't think it is a thing. Okay, I don't think so. I think, yes, you can give an impression of someone who's caring a lot about that. It has a lot of TI, whatever information in that block. But I don't think it makes you look like you're that developed. It's bullshit. It's a jerk-off. It's a fucking jerk-off. Someone wants to feel special. That's the way I read it. You want to feel special. Oh, I just developed my functions. Shut the fuck up, you didn't, okay? You didn't. And that's the reality of shit. You distinguish it like you distinguish anything else. You can make an argumentation, maybe, possibly, that people's elements, they're different spectrum. That's fair. Maybe one person is more TI vulnerable than the other. Okay? Sure. But there's no fucking way that you're gonna overcome that shit. Okay? That easily. So apply normal shit, what you know about super ego block and ego block. Apply it as you should without mental gymnastics, such as I'm just a developed individual. I'm not. Fuck all that. If you need to use an idea. No. Ring, what do you think about this shit? What do you think about this shit, Ring?
I think what happens is that you can't really talk about socionics without considering how it's kind of adaptable. The more experience that you have, you will take in more information. So I agree at some level with like kind of like the idea June is saying that if you are, let's look at you. You're an SE, right? You have role NE.
I'm an LSE sexual 1.
Yeah, all right. Let's be fucking real now, right?
Okay,
so
okay.
you're role NE. You're vulnerable. I was gonna say vulnerable TI, right?
Yep.
Would you say that your role NE and your vulnerable TI, how much better has it become in the last 10 years? Like, give me a percentage out of 100 than what it was when you were like 18.
And I'm already going to create a counter argument here, because I'm going to tell you this is not, you cannot measure it. I'm going to say what does that mean better? What does that mean better? Give me something like better how?
Okay,
like
cool.
More smart, more reactive, more into discovering self-potential. In what sense? I would need to.
So, are you able to more often than not accurately measure your own and the capabilities of others, while also being able to correctly allocate the right capability to the right personal need, the right place in the systems, the right hierarchical values based off of capabilities? Is it something that you feel like you've gotten a lot better at, or do you struggle with?
I honestly don't feel like I've changed in that department. I don't think my ability to know what people's potential is really changed. I don't feel like it did. I always felt like I'm able to I have an idea. It's kind of sometimes you see someone's good at something, you kind of know what they can become good at, or maybe he's good at being very practical. You know, you can put them somewhere in a certain position. Like, I just feel like it was always that way. I don't feel like it changed personally. You know, from that particular example.
Okay, for me, I feel like I've gotten like a decent bit better with expressing myself, and then also being able to take care of myself as well. Making sure that I'm not in situations
Yeah.
where my physical like well-being has been compromised.
Right. Yeah. So
However, it's not. I agree with you. It's
yeah, it's
not at
not
the
like,
level of
wow,
my ego
maybe
block.
it's his. He is
No.
just such a developed idea. You know, it just seems like he looks almost like fucking SI ego. That's how developed he is, but he's actually SI vulnerable. That's bullshit. That's absolute fucking nonsense, right?
Hmm.
That's nonsense.
I think that in some ways it can come across like that. And I'll tell you from my personal experience, I've had people tell me, oh,
Fuck your
your
personal
FE is so
experience.
good.
You're
Yeah,
wrong.
no, no, no,
No,
no,
I'm,
no,
I'm
no, no,
kidding.
no, no.
I'm
Fuck
kidding.
that shit.
I'm kidding.
No,
Yeah,
you're
go
right. You're
ahead.
right
Go
though.
ahead.
In my personal experience, people have told me, "Oh, you're so charismatic. You're so social. You're really good at expressing yourself." And in those moments, I'm like, man, they don't know how much of a fucking like alien I am, like a robot. These are things I just picked up by just looking at how other
Yeah,
people did
but
it.
I assure you, people know you're a fucking lizard, though. I assure you, people know you're a lizard. So if you think you're fooling fucking anyone with the efficient, no, people definitely can get a vibe you're
I
a
fool
fucking lizard.
people, bro. I fool people, bro. I'm
You do
like
fool people
I'm like
because
Giga, fucking a
yeah,
master
but it's
manipulator.
like saying Ted Bundy fooled people. Yes, that's true, but what the fuck? You know, like what the fuck are we talking about? Like, if some, I will tell you why. If you want,
Hmm.
okay, I'll tell you why you often. It's clear you're a lizard. Do you wanna know?
Okay. Okay, go for it.
Your understanding of lubing people up, it lacks subtlety. Unironically, you're too good. Unironically, you are too good. So, if something is too good to be true, it's wrong. You
What do
have
you mean by that? What's too good mean?
like your approach to people is very positive, always like flattering people, very like very cheerful, very supportive, very expressive. It just seems like that shit not possible. That shit not possible.
Oh, I
And
see.
there's a
I
weird
see.
disconnect because you are so, for example, it might not seem, it's not that it's inappropriate to the situation, but it seems unnecessary or exaggerated. That's the sense it gives.
Hmm.
There's no need
Hmm.
for this type of
That makes
um,
sense.
to hear those things from you. So you know that's what it can seem like there's a disconnection between what you're saying and what you're actually feeling deep inside, and that's the disconnection that happens maybe. But you know, I don't know. I'm talking like in any base right now.
No, 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 no. I like that. It's true.
I
Because
think
to be honest, most of the
I'm
time I
sure
don't
you
even know
fool.
what I'm feeling.
I'm sure you people in real life don't think you're a lizard, obviously, but I know people who are have a keen eye. They, you know, maybe even more suspicious people. If you talk to them, they'll be like, "That's something's missing here.
Hmm.
Something's missing." Like he says those words, but is he like actually like an emotionally in tune person with others, such an empathic person who understands how others feel, or is he going through the motions? People will be able to maybe pick up on that, you know?
You're right. You're right, and that's actually happened to me in the past too. In fact, I think one of the funniest statistics I ever gotten about me is that
Yeah,
I asked somebody,
yeah,
"How often do you think I'm being sarcastic?" And I got numbers like
yeah.
60%, 70%, even 80%. And that shit was so shocking to me because I actually know how often I am actually being sarcastic. And I told him I'm actually being sarcastic like only 30% of the time. And
Yeah, I
that
mean
shit
it's
like
fair.
blew my mind. Like it was like an FE fucking bomb to my face. Like, wow, I really suck at expressing myself, huh?
Well, that makes me think LSI can be FLVE since they can be pedantic about physics as well as TI leading sounded like 2L.
Wouldn't that just be better as LFVE? Would
Wouldn't
that
just that be
would,
better as LFVE?
yeah.
Why
For your
fix
exact
no
actually
no no.
reasoning.
Why fix something? That's not broken. Why? What about could TI base fit social 3? I don't see how. What about SP8? Social extroversion, they kinda of SP8 still extroverted. Let's not get this twisted, because I know some people take it too far. They're like, I'm an introvert. No, SP8 is extroverted. It's true, they're more introverted seeming than other types, and this is shown in their emotional kind of energy, in how they interact with people. That's, you will see that more. They can be a bit more introverted in that way, right? So in that sense, yes, but it's still extroverted people, you know. I think I feel like FI is most confusing for me because it's supposed to be one's inner feelings. No, it's not supposed to be one's inner feelings. Well, it's, yes, I mean, I guess, right? Because if you would say inner emotions, you'd be talking about FE, right? FI is more about your personal attitudes, right? And you will say that's inner feelings. Yes, like how you feel about something. So yeah, but it's also observing others' internal feelings. But observing others, accessing other people's internal emotional landscape, that's FE. That's FE at that point. As an FI person, you should not be fixated on other people's emotional landscape. You should be focused on your own personal attitudes. Is it possible for a social 9 to dream of being part of a perfect group of friends, but often too disappointed with people that they isolate themselves from the groups instead?
Bro, social 9 is literally me. This literally social 9 is me.
And this
is like my biggest problem. What the fuck? Holy fuck.
Yeah, he gets disappointed. There's zero contradiction in what you just said.
Holy
There's
fuck.
Zero contradiction in what you just said. Zero. Is Thanos from Squid Game sexual 8? I've never watched
yes.
I've never watched Squid Game, but from what I've seen, I think he's a sexual 8. People say sexual 2. I don't know why they would say that. There's nothing to indicate any of those fucking other typings for him. What do you think is more important in determining your type? Super ego or ego? Would it be easy to notice? Listen, my approach to typing is not just so strictly fucking like, holy shit, I need to focus on ego because ego is better. And situational. If I'm able to see your ID or super ID first, I'll do that shit. I'm gonna focus on that shit. If I see your ego more or super ego, I'm basically just looking at you and trying to determine what the fuck can I see. And whatever the fuck I see, I'm gonna fucking use that to type. I'm gonna use that to then develop this idea and go further. That's my way. Don't limit yourself to like, oh, super ego or this or that. At the end of the day, you're looking at typology as a holistic idea, as a whole, as like one big thing. It's not just ego or super ego. We cannot do that. Keep in mind all of it, because sometimes it's going to be easier for you. Maybe you're in a particular situation where, for example, you're talking to me and we're talking about time, about a project, and I'm telling you how, oh, holy shit, I thought I could finish this project today because I thought I'm going to have enough time. Came out, I don't have any fucking time left. So it's all fucked up. You know, there will be no reason for you to try to pay attention to my super ego blog if you can see the fucking NI suggestive already. Why not do that? That's why I'm thinking, you know. Could the SP4 masochism be more focused towards serving others rather than using their envy as a self? Why not? Ring, what do you think of this? Ring.
Using the envy, yeah, of course. The SP4 is the E4 that doesn't want to feel envy. They will literally do everything besides accept it for what it is, and they will let their envy fuel them into like hard, laborious work, serving others, feeling part of groups so they feel safe, working towards survival scenarios. Yeah, that's exactly what happens. And that doesn't mean that an SP4 can't be someone who self-improves. David Goggins, we keep saying this motherfucker. The problem is that the SP4 needs to accept that they're envious. that this is something that drives and fulfills them and is a big part of who they are. So when they do self-develop, it comes from a good foundation. I think that's something that people in general misunderstand, and this is not just even just like Enneagram. This is just about like developing yourself. If you become a higher actualized person, you develop yourself in some way or another. But if it comes from the wrong place, it's not really developing yourself. I'm sorry to say that. And that's what happens with a lot of people. They do things that are oftentimes good for the wrong reasons. Look at the Social Seven. Social Seven is a good example of this. Someone who often does very self-sacrificing altruistic things, but they do it because they want to turn you into like the ultimate mirror image of what they want to be themselves. They every time they do anything for anybody, it's because they're actualizing their ideal self in front of you. You actually get objectified when they're serving you. It's kind of fucking weird. So like it does matter why you do things, even if they're good things.
Rust in the Ring, what you think about C.H. Joseph? We don't think about C.H. Joseph. Simple. We don't have an opinion. We don't care about C.H. Joseph, and it's not saying like, oh, we don't care about him. No, it's we don't give a fuck. Because why? This is Typology Odyssey. It's not gossip about other, like, oh, let me talk about other people. Let me talk about other creators. Let me make videos. Let me make videos about them, talking about them. It's the most. It's like the weakest fucking shit I've ever seen, and it's this, and obviously this is common, right? I mean, in Typology, it's not as common as some other places, right? Like where fucking weird people, like people making YouTube videos about each other, like those big YouTubers, like it's just dumb. Why don't you focus on yourself? And that's what we do on Typology Odyssey. We don't give a fuck. Hopefully, C.H. Joseph is doing cool. Yeah. That's it. Wish him luck and all the best in life. What's Jordan Peterson's socionics and Enneagram? I cannot see him being a... No, he'd never be a, like, holy fuck. It would be like crazy. EII. EII. I'm telling you already, I'm going with EII. Because I've seen some of his shorts. Holy fuck. FI based shit. How do people type him like FI suggestive when the guy yaps about like... how people this bad and good and morality and how complex, like I don't get that. The guy has so much to say about FI and we still type him like an LIE or some shit, I just...
This is why fucking psychological types classic Jung is so useful, because you would instantly type him as a fucking rational and you would type him as a rational feeling type really fucking easily.
You would type him as a feeling type. Why would you type him as a... And people say, well, he said he made a book where you clean your room. It's like, seriously? Oh my god. Do we just fucking... It's like saying I'm a fucking LSC because I make videos about strict correlations, so I'm a sexual one. It's literally the same fucking brain deadness. Holy shit. You need to look at the whole fucking thing. Yes, he made a book about cleaning your fucking room. Any dumb fuck can make a fucking book about cleaning your room. That's the most idiotic thing ever. Literally, that's your fucking solution to 12-step program is to clean your fucking room. That's brain dead. And people use that as a fucking example of him being a logical type. That's crazy. No. Holy shit, I would do a better job. No. Fuck that. I was reading a book about SP7 and a sexual 2 who are both master manipulators trying to seduce the other first. The SP7 will decapitate. The SX2 is too obvious. As Paul said, it's too obvious. Why is II the prototype for sexual 5? Because that's what happened with the correlations. I mean, it's simple, to be honest. That's what happened, with the correlations. Because what else II is gonna be? They're not gonna be like a 4-core. They're not oriented towards their personal fucking relationships, their feelings, their attitudes. So what else? Oh, the SX5. They're more dreamy. They're detached. All the bullshit, I don't have that strong. I was like, I don't have strong feelings about. You get the point, I don't... Ugh. Rusted for your game channel. Please play Persona. Isn't that a geeky game? Isn't that a game for geeks? Like, and by the way, I'm glad.
No,
What?
I was gonna say no. It's like more for like nerds who are more normie. You know, like they're like
I'm a
soft
nerd,
nerds.
but
Like they
I'm a
like
nerd.
Marvel.
I'm a nerd, but I'm not a normie. I'm not a normie nerd. But thank you for that you mentioned, because I'm cooking my gaming channel, because you see, I'm not gonna keep fucking releasing videos on my main channel of my gaming. Okay, I wanna play more fucking games, upload some shit, have fun with it. I'm gonna play Marvels. I'm gonna play Doom. I'm gonna play fucking Last of Us. I'm gonna play. I'm basically gonna. You can expect any game that I'm gonna like. I'm gonna play, but Persona for Golden is probably not gonna be on that list. I'm sorry, man. What is FI? FI is personal attitudes, your likes and dislikes, what you think, what you feel about something. You know, do you think something's shit? Do you hate someone's guts so much that you can't even be in the same fucking room with them? You know, maybe to the point where you hate them so fucking much that if they were dying on their deathbed, you would tell them to go fuck themselves. And that's how you are about everything. That can be FI, you know. FI creatives. Conor McGregor. Look into that. Thoughts on the ID block? Doesn't seem like an obvious block. So block is ID, demonstrative, and ignoring, right? I think it's an interesting block, because it's one where we adhere to the environmental not expectations but needs, right? So like an SI ignoring can still adhere to people's health. They can help and take care of other people's health when it's necessary. They can rest when they need to, or they can, you know, whatever. So it's more accommodating in some sense. Do I have thoughts on it? No, I think it's a boring block. No offense. I don't know. I don't care about it, you know. I don't know. I'm FE demonstrative, and I don't know. I really cannot tell you much about it. I'm not even aware of my emotions. I don't know how I feel half the time. It's useless. it's useless. I guess I like making people angry. Although even that, I stopped doing that as I'm older. I like to say controversial shit, so little people would get angry. Oh, upset, he said something. Oh. Yeah, well, you're taking words at face value because you're dumb fuck, you know? That gives me joy. Yes, I'm too old for that shit. I don't care anymore. So what the fuck? Where's the FE? What's the FE demonstrative doing? It's useless. The ID block is useless. Fuck it, is what I say. Fuck it. As a TI Paul, I would like to say I'm very good with computers. But when I'm introduced to a new process in the physical world, that makes sense. I mean, it's a new process that you don't know how to deal with. You will not know how to solve it creatively, you know? Makes sense. Oh my god, no. Okay, I'm gonna try not to fucking... Okay, I love how dramatic Ring is and how much he exaggerates. I know, he's a diva, isn't he? Chat, isn't he a diva? Look at him. Dramatic. How much he exaggerates. Wow.
And thank you. This is what I love, because every time I do any of that shit is so fucking calculated. Like, that shit is like, if I'm raising my voice, I do that shit so fucking consciously. Like, it's time to raise my voice moment. Time to lower my voice moment. Like, I literally fucking synthesize that shit. So, I really could be an FE base, to be honest with you all. Is all I'm trying to say. Why are you making that face, huh? I read your face, okay? Because I'm an FE base, and I can tell that it's not a good face to make.
I just you know more about FE than me.
Like, you are more because that was funny.
You are so much more aware about FE than me. It's crazy. Wow. FE base confirmed. New allegations. No more IE or ILE or whatever the fuck you are battling right now.
Stop calling me lizard. I literally, like, sometimes I'll even slow down how fast I use my words, like the pace, just send a message. I don't know what it is, but I've seen cool people do it. So I slow it down, like I'm Obama or something,
Oh
you
my
know.
god. Oh my god. That's crazy. Okay, I suggest you to literally just be yourself. Stop watching those TikToks and fucking like those guides how to fucking
Wait,
speak like a
I
non-native.
don't watch fucking guides. The problem is
Okay.
I absorb naturally, you know? I absorb from you sometimes. Sometimes I think you do things that are crass and I would never do, and there's some things like, wow, this guy's really speaking to people's hearts. I should emulate that.
Well, thank you. Thank you for mentioning the first part. Sometimes he's crass, and I would never do that. I'm a sophisticated individual. But sometimes he has some wisdom. It's like, rarely he says something deep. Yeah, thank you. Thank you,
Shit's
man. I
so
appreciate
funny.
it. But kind of remind them, what does the Chinese words? I think it means something like big ball sack. Something like that. Like big ball sack as in, like, you know? But it's
Wait, what?
no, it's a joke. It's a joke. But if anyone's Chinese, please tell me what it means, because I remember translating this long time ago. It was like a deep, meaningful quote. I don't remember the quote anymore. I just I just had it because I'm gonna be honest. I even have dream catchers on my fucking walls. Like, there's no rhyme and reason. I'm like, I like dream catchers. I fucking put dream catchers. It's crazy. It is just fucking Chinese symbol there. It makes no sense. It has no rhyme or reason. But I'm actually gonna be renovating my room. I'm gonna be changing my position in my room. It's gonna be interesting, guys. Are you gonna?
Oh, you're gonna adjust the TI.
So, okay. Well, I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do. Right? Listen. You see this? Do you see the wall behind me? I'm gonna be sitting there. I'm gonna see that? See? Okay. Do you see what's behind me? The drawer, the big drawer. You see this? This one? This one? This one? This one? I'm gonna remove that. And I'm gonna put this table, which is it's literally a fucking table. I'm gonna put this table and I'm gonna put it back, so it's gonna look different. Which means you're gonna see my wall. Okay. Fuck it. Hopefully
Yo,
you will
Rush,
not
check
see something fucked up.
your DMs, bro. I gave you the translation.
Really?
Yeah, check your DMs.
Wait. How did it see? What the fuck? Oh, attract wealth and treasure. Bring in wealth and treasure. It's a traditional phrase used to wish for prosperity and financial success. Oh my god. Thank you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome, bro.
And so far, this shit's not helping. But, you know, fuck it.
Like, yo, imagine if it wasn't up, how much worse it would be.
Whoa, I would be homeless.
That shit is keeping you.
That shit's
I'm
keeping me
just
at the
fucking
edge. Okay. That's funny. Okay, I also remember Jack Oliver says Oshra contradicts Oshra in her writings. So you understand? Listen, I like Jack. Jack is a person who's a cool dude. I never had a bad interaction with Jack. Never. But you have to understand one thing. Jack has an agenda. Jack has 1,000,000,000% an agenda, and his agenda is simple. WSS is better than classic socionics. It's simple. And once you understand what the fuck that means, it changes your perspective. Jack's always gonna nitpick things. Jack's gonna make statements about Oshra, how Oshra's not good. That's what Jack's supposed to do. He's supposed to do that. He made a system that he believes is better. So he's gonna criticize the older one he thinks is shit. That's literally that's all is going that is going on. That's it. Jack is doing what Jack is supposed to do, to be honest. You know, people hate on Jack. I think Jack is fucking fun. He's a nice dude, you know? But he has his own system. He has his own school. And he's trying to push it. I mean, what the fuck else do those schools do? I told you guys, schools push shit on people. That's what they do. Schools, what the fuck did I say about schools? Every school thinks they're right. Every school thinks their system is better. That's what the fuck they do. That's the point, you know? So, that's it.
Guys, clip that. If you ever want an example of E8, anti-intellectualism.
Yeah. That's true. That's what anti-intellectualism would mean. Yeah, I mean, and it's like that's how I would go about it. don't associate yourself with any school. Be anti-schools. Unironically, be anti-schools. Like, be anti that shit, because I'm probably traumatized. Like, realistically speaking, there's, I don't think I have PTSD. Would be pretty cool, but I don't have it, right? I don't have PTSDs. I don't have anything cool I can brag about, other maybe than ADHD. Okay, right? So I'm lucky enough to be neurodivergent. Cool, but listen, maybe I perceive those systems as authoritarian, restrictive of I see them maybe representing a father figure or someone authoritarian that needs to get decapitated, and so that's kind of what happens. But it's my own PTSDs and my own traumas going on. I feel like David Goggins is an exaggerated example of an SP4, because realistically, is every SP4 going to be out there shredding? No, man. But that's why you need to take those examples, like those famous examples, with a grain of salt, bro. My wife used to always tell me, those are famous examples. Because I told her, babe, we don't know any SCEs that are not degenerates, that end up like literally broke and bankrupt and like at the brink of life, failing everything that they did after their successes. And she's like, well, yeah, because look at the people you're trying to look at, celebrities and other famous people. Of course they're fucking crazy and shit, so don't, he is a great example of what a very unhealthy, deranged SP4 looks like at its most deranged. But that doesn't reflect a single human fucking normal being, Which types struggle cleaning their room? Every type can struggle with cleaning your room. How is it easy to type in Jung? How do y'all type in all system, if it's possible to share the examples? Ring, you can take this from here.
It is so fucking easy to type in Jung. Why is it so fucking easy to type in Jung? Jung devised this system to quickly summarize the cognition of the patients that he was seeing. He literally wanted to make a really quick decision on how this person is fixated in their cognitive worldviews, so he created psychological types. It is so simple. Take Russ for an example. The right methodology to I'll literally psych type him right now. It's so fucking easy. Okay? The right methodology to psychologically type somebody is you ask them their attitude. Are they an extroverted attitude or an introverted attitude? Then you ask them their preference. Are they rational or irrational? Then, only then, when those are decided, you can consider which functions they're using with their archaic sides. That means, once you're, for example, a logical type, you have archaic feeling. And then you could talk about further differentiation. Let's do it really quickly. Russ is clearly, in terms of attitude, is an extroverted attitude person. He is someone who seeks consensus with others, who wants to relate to objects with others, who wants to be part of a greater world, greater society, and wants to be external in that way, attempts to be objective, even though no one can be objective, but be part of the greater whole. He's not an introverted attitude person. He doesn't devalue the object and values his subjective experience more. He is an extrovert. Okay, we have extrovert. Is Russ a rational or irrational? Clearly, Russ is an irrational type. This is someone who is drawn by their perceptive the perceptive way of taking in information, right? You have the rational types who make decisions based off of some sort of criteria, who want to create a judgment. Russ isn't like that. Russ is someone who takes in information as it's happening, and it is what it literally is. Okay, so we have extroverted, irrational. Now, once that is assigned, you can do functions. Okay, Russ is clearly a sensation sensation type over an intuitive type. He is not someone who has much faith in the collective unconscious, which is where intuition comes from. He is someone who believes in the concrete, which is what is in front of him, what is accessible by the five senses. In fact, it's quite clear he has archaic intuition, where he doesn't trust things that don't have a concrete basis to them. Okay, and there you have it. He is an extroverted attitude, irrational sensation type, also known as an ES. Do I think that he's differentiated in feeling or thinking? I think that there is good example of him being a little bit of both, so I will leave him as a pure ES type. That's it. That's young. And now you can derive whatever you want from ES or sensation or irrational or
Yeah.
extroverted. But
Follow
it's
that
super
method. If you
straightforward.
follow that
It's
method,
it
you'd have to fuck it up so big not to be able to do it. To be
Yep.
honest. To be
It's
honest.
so clip
Yeah.
me if you guys want. It's so straightforward, but you cannot start function first. That is how people make mistakes. You
Mm.
cannot start function first. You can't look at Russ and be like, he's a sensation type. So now he's an irrational. That does
Mm.
not work. Young explained in psychological types that everybody uses every function situationally. If you're going to type by a function, you will fail. You will
Yeah.
mistype. That's why you have to assign attitude first, extroversion,
Yeah.
introversion, and you have to assign preference, rationality, or
Because and people, I
irrationality.
think in Jung we all if you're undifferentiated, you'll see all kinds of functions. You'll see them
Yep.
to one
Yep.
degree or another. So you cannot just look at one thing and think that's what it is. You will get misled. I think you know.
Yeah, and taking it further, even let's say you have archaic intuition, situationally, you still will have moments with the collective unconscious. That will happen. It will happen the least amount of anything, but it will happen. And that's the interesting part. And that's a function typing in Young is completely unreliable. I can make almost everyone in the chat some other type in Young if I just went by functions. This is why you have to go
Wow.
through that specific methodology. And it's simple. And it's a summary. It's nice. I love psychological types. It's based.
There you go, guys. Some kind of PT knowledge dropping, Jungian knowledge. Is LSC Enneagram 1 more strict than LSC 1 billion%? This is not even a question. 1 billion%. What types are most likely to cause controversy, passionate arguments, despite not actually being emotionally invested? That sounds more like you're dealing with a troll, like an IE. Unironically, an IE probably would fucking do that. I mean, maybe ILE could do that. There's all kinds of, but sounds like a troll. How does the static FI element reflect on Enneagram 4s who often have identity crises and manipulate their personalities in reaction to others? But to be honest, manipulating your personality has nothing to do with FI, right? It has to do with an E. Shifting your personality. Personality is an E. So that's that. I mean, I don't know what to say to this. Ring, do you know what to say to this? Do you know what to say to this, Ring?
Yeah, I'm looking at it. I'm like, a lot of people manipulate their personalities, you know?
I just feel like, yeah, I don't think you can even. Why are we correlating something that's specific? You know? Simple as. No, but my friend Tape, my friend, listen. I don't think we can even answer that question. Yeah, it's difficult. Does knowing saying something in X time will evoke why feelings in others still consider? I think you can say it's. I feel like there's a level of autism involved that goes beyond typology. Like if you don't know that you will say something and it will probably piss people off. Now you're dealing with a neurodivergence. It's not just like your FE demo. And I think that doesn't mean shit, you know? Like if you are aware, I don't think it's that serious. It's more a mental FE, it thinks a lot about that. You know? Anyone can be aware if they say something X, Y, and Z It will cause a reaction. But mental FE is not as oriented towards emotions of other people and feeling those kind of internal motion of other people. They're not really thinking about it, they're not thinking about it. There's not as much mental FE. They think a lot about that, is what the fuck I'm trying to say. They're aware of it, they can express it very well. Vital FE doesn't, they can't. I think Jack got his ideas of contradictions mostly from reigning dichotomies. I really don't think they make much sense either. That's possible, but I assure you that whatever Jack thinks is a contradiction, most likely you could decapitate on sight. But people sometimes, I'll be honest with you. Listen, people come to me sometimes and they're asking me, why don't you talk to Jack? Why don't you debate to Jack? Jack wants to debate with you, right? Again, I like Jack. But why the fuck would I ever debate with Jack? Why the fuck? And I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna explain the fucking reason. Now, listen, what the fuck is the point of that? First, what's the point? Is Jack gonna change his mind on WSS, the system he created, and now he's gonna say, yes, I mean, you're right, my system is shit, Classic is the way to go? Like, do you actually think that's gonna happen? Like realistically, I'm not even saying he open-minded, but is that even possible? Like, logically, it's not, right? So is it really a debate? Is that a debate? If we both know I'm not gonna change my mind, I don't give a fuck about this, you don't give a fuck about that, is this a debate? What's the point?
Oh man, I feel like we always do this shit like every couple of weeks, okay?
Yeah.
You guys don't want a debate, you guys want a spectacle. You want something fun and engaging, what you have no stake in. You want to see WWE Monday Night fucking Raw, SmackDown, WrestleMania. That's what you want to see.
Realistically, that's not a debate because no one's open-minded. So Jack's not open-minded. I'm not open-minded. I know Jack would say he's open-minded, and I know what he means. He's open-minded within this framework, but he still thinks WSS is the shit, is the king. So there's no debate. Second of all, this is funny. Why the fuck are you tagging me? From all the people who are good in classic socionics, you're tagging me to be the one to debate with Jack about classic socionics. You're gonna send that one guy who probably should be instead fighting with Jack physically, throwing fists. But you throw this person on the chair being like, okay, now be a geek and just represent the classic socionics. Represent it. How do you think that's gonna end? Why are you sending me to represent classic socionics if I can't even explain it on the spot that quickly? You're gonna send me to actually represent that system. I mean, to me, it makes sense. You would send someone who's an uber geek, literally a fucking uber geek. You'd send them and be like, okay, because I'm gonna tell you what the fuck would happen. You put me and Jack in a debate. I'm telling you right now, what would happen is he'd say some shit. He would, Jack's smart. And I'm like, well, fucking, I don't know what the fuck to say to that shit. I don't know. Maybe no. I don't have that much information. Sorry. Wow, see guys, classic socionics people, they don't know what the fuck. This system is shit. Look at us. And all the WSS, yeah, see, that's why the system sucks. If you want an actual fucking debate and to have classic socionics represented well, you should not go to me and ask me shit like this, to be honest, because it's ridiculous. Even I know this shit. Yes, I can teach classic socionics, but I'm not the representant, the master uber geek of it, and I would never send myself. I know this enough. I would send my friends. Yeah, I would send one of my friends, the uber geeks, not me. The fuck? Hell no. Holy shit. Rust, if you had a kid, how would you homeschool them? Dude, if in my country, if you have a kid and you homeschool them, you're gonna go to prison. Like, literally. I mean, obviously, me being an 8, that would mean that I don't care about prison. I'm not scared of prison. Fuck it. I'm gonna go to prison for homeschooling my kid. Fuck it, YOLO. But it is a crime. I'm pretty sure it's like you I don't think you can. I've never met anyone who can get away with that kind of thing. Controversial question. It's not controversial question. It isn't at least pure ES correlated to SI based in socionics. I genuinely feel like there's nothing that contradicts that other than extroversion introverted aspect. Ring, that's on you.
You there's a very tough time. Very, 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 very tough time. Almost like it's not even worthwhile to correlate Jung to socionics. Even the simple idea of extroversion versus introversion is completely different. Here, like systemically, check this out. In socionics, right? The introvert is the one that seeks to figure out relationships between objects. What is TI? What is FI? If not relationships between objects. However, in Jung, it's actually the extrovert that does that. The extrovert is the person that relates other people, other things, other concepts, and then relates objects together. This is like a fundamentally big difference. You can find like crossovers that work really well, and sometimes they don't work as well. Like for example, for LIE, I think ETN works very well. I think ENT works very well, right? But there's some situations where like SEI, are we going to automatically say that this is an introverted sensation type? Or something else? Like this is where it gets very strange. I don't think I met a single like ILI that wasn't a better case for an introverted thinking type than it was an introverted intuitive type. That's my personal perspective. I wouldn't do it. It gets too messy.
Thank you. By the way, they're talking. I was spreading misinformation. Just a normal fucking stream, right? Spreading information, misinformation, like it's my daily job. I get that. Hello. Was I joking? No. Well, it depends what you mean. Was I joking with what? And the beauty of my character is that you don't know when the fuck I'm joking and when I'm not. You don't know. My own wife actually my wife of 2 years, but we've been together for like 4 or 5. She has no. It took her like years. It took her years, and she still has issues with that. Now imagine you as an audience. You think you fucking know me. You think you know me. My own wife can't tell if I'm fucking joking. You think you have me figuring the fuck out. Thumbs up for being an arrogant prick. By the way, on a serious note, I was serious about this fucking shit, about the debate with Jack. I was serious. You're not gonna put me in a debate. You're gonna put. Why don't you get Raven and make him debate? Like if you want. Why? It's like okay. I'm serious. This is a genuine comparison. Let's say you're supposed to fight this big guy. He's like 6'2", 250 pounds. You go to a dwarf. He's fucking 4'5", fucking 80 pounds. And you say, listen, you know, I've seen you hitting the bag. Like, you teach some people some fucking elbows, dwarf elbows and shit. Can you beat him up? And the dwarf's like, so you want me to represent your your colors and stuff? Like, you know he's just gonna grab me and throw me into the fucking bin, right? That's the reality of the situation. You don't throw a dwarf to fight a giant, same way you don't find a guy who can break someone in half to fucking argue with a geek. You cannot have best of both worlds. I'm sorry. You either have intellect or you have the fucking muscle. I'm sorry. You know, God didn't gift you the stats to fucking pick everything. You can have charisma, everything. But I'm sorry, the brain, it's like a cyberpunk character. The brain has 0. So, it's over. People are like, who the fuck is... By the way, I was spreading misinformation about this homeschooling stuff. My Polish citizen brothers, they're saying that in fact you can homeschool in Poland, and let this be educational. You can homeschool in Poland, which I didn't know, but you need papers. I don't know if they mean yellow papers, which by the way in Poland means being fucked in the head if you need to prove your kid's neurodivergent or something, so you need to prove it. Hey, you see this shit? My kid cannot even coexist with those other kids because he will fucking like butcher them. There might be he can't. It's for their own sake, he cannot do that. I don't know, maybe they know. Tak coś w tym stylu. Listen, I'm not calling myself stupid. I think I'm... Listen. Papier od lekarza. Wow, they said papers from the fucking doctor. I was right. You need the papers from the fucking doctor. What the fuck is a doctor gonna do? Hey, sorry, it cannot be cured. He can't be cured. Sir, what's the diagnosis? He's gonna be homeschooled. No! Like, what the fuck? Come on, man. But out of that, I would say, listen, I don't call myself stupid. I think I'm very intelligent. I'm very capable and very intelligent. But I'm also not stupid to think. I have realistic, I would say to a degree, some realistic understanding, especially in the logical world. Okay? So I'm not gonna lie about that. Okay, I'm not gonna lie about what the fuck I cannot do when it comes to logic. Yes, I'm not stupid. But I'm no geek. I'm not no geek. Maybe now Jack and me in a ring. Okay, let's fucking do it, But I'm not sure if this is gonna be a good fucking.
Whoa! Meet and where?
Did I say ring? Oh fuck! Fuck. Okay, I take it back. I am fucking stupid.
Hey, yo!
No, but
clip him.
I would say, listen, why don't we solve this debate which school is better by beating the living shit out of each other, and whoever decapitates the other person, that's the school wins. Literally. Beat each other up. And if I win, Classic is better. If he wins, But it's a joke, obviously, He wouldn't do it in a ring. I wouldn't do it in a fucking debate. So, it is what the fuck it is. We're just kidding. Mój kolega duży ból miał I poszedł.
Can you imagine that triple threat, like 3 fucking way fight, right? It'd be like, obviously, the idea would be like, if I have to script
the fuck? Where are you gonna be, motherfucker? You're gonna be by my side. I'm gonna take you to the
that's
ring.
What people expect, right? Like, I would be on your side, and Jack, because of his hubris, would be like, of course I can take them on, right? But as Jack is losing, I'll be like, sorry, Russ, my SE just mobilized, and I could grow like muscles, like in Western socionics, and I punch you, and then I win with Jack. That's the way I'd script it.
Wait, so you're gonna backfuck us?
Yeah, because I'm scheming. I'm Western socionics LIE. I only do pragmatic efficiency. My SE mobilized.
He's a Machiavellian fucking traitor, this rat motherfucker. But nah, we're kidding. It's as you can see, this shit ain't serious to us. We just know what the fuck, It's just Typology, bro. So, you know what? This story about your friend, by the way, it's fucked up, man. That's really fucked up. Why did they bully him, by the way? What happened? Like, that's pretty fucking intense. Holy shit. You know what's crazy? Sometimes I look at my Polish brethren and I'm like, you are so well adjusted, and here I am. Like, I see how they're talking in chat. They're just like, they're just normal folk, and here I am, Like, it's what went wrong. I'm not Polish. I think I'm fucked in the head, but I don't think I'm Polish. He kissed a dude on a party. Oh. Okay, yeah, that's very Polish. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I thought you were gonna say he's a ginger, he wears glasses, and then he's like, he kissed a dude on a party. Let's just say he fucking suffered an intense bullying. Like, yeah, I mean, yeah, that's unfortunate. Fuck, man. Yeah. Poland is. I don't want to say this about Poland everywhere, though, you know? Poland's not that bad, to be honest with you. I know people be like, oh my god, homophobia. It's not that bad, to be honest. It depends where you are. It's a big thing. In Poland, it depends where you are. And in bigger cities, people don't give a shit, you know? People are open-minded. In the small cities where they love Christianity, they love the church, you will get crucified, you know? You will get crucified. But they're also the same degenerates who probably do anal behind the fucking closed doors, even though God said no anal. So what the fuck, man? Why are you being... Yeah, Poznań, Gdańsk, yeah, Gdańsk, holy shit, bro, that's chill as fuck. In Gdańsk, it's super chill. They even wanted to jump him, so me and my friends... You know what? You are a fucking Giga Chat SPA. You were ready to fuck him up. For that. I respect that shit. That's a fucking... Look at that, man. Holy shit. Rust, if you were in typologist, what would your job be? Since I'm a typologist, and a typologist is a sophisticated job. To be honest, my job isn't... It's not as simple, you know. For example, when people say, "Oh, you're a typologist," it's not that way. That's not how this works, you know. But I feel like I was born, you know. I'm good at the entertainment. I don't know, you know, something where I can just talk shit and express myself. That's what I would do. Something like that, where I can kind of interact with people and maybe express myself and say some shit, get clipped, go viral or some bullshit, you know. I don't know. Fuck. Do you ring type? I don't type any second World War II leaders.
I think the
Yeah.
most interesting one would be like Churchill,
Mm.
but I
I
never
mean, yeah,
get
I mean,
into doing it, you
yeah.
know?
Yeah. But guys, listen. We've been past time. It's been 2 hours. And me being typical me, I told my wife I'm gonna be finishing this stream 1 hour 30 minutes in, and it's 1 hour 56 minutes. Time. I don't know what time. What can we do with time? Time just flies. Time goes. There's no stopping it. You close your eyes. By the way, guys, I want to see. You know what I want to see? Final Destination, Bloodlines. That's what I want to see. In cinemas. Soon. Okay, guys, she can join the stream if you stream too long. Rain manipulate time and okay, there's no time. He can do that shit. You guys believed him. He's a charlatan, Machiavellian. You guys believed his shtick, and now you're suffering. We'll finish the stream. But on a serious note, guys, we will be quitting the stream. Gaming channel gonna be released soon. We're gonna play some games. You will be notified for sure, 1,000,000%. So today's Friday. We might see each other on Sunday, or we might not. Anyway, stay tuned for the notifications. Click the fucking notification button so you don't miss it. Don't be a cunt. Don't be a twat. Okay, your mom's not gonna love you if you don't fucking subscribe. Your mom's not gonna love you if you don't click the notification button. She's gonna think, why wouldn't you? She will click the notification button. If she'd see me, she would. She'd be like, he's a good man. He's gonna teach you good values. Click that button. Okay? Okay, bye guys. Bye chat. Thank you for the Polish brethren moderators for doing your job. Thank you for the other Polish citizens for correcting me on my ignorance on Polish laws. I appreciate it. Will not need to go to prison. I'm happy. Anyway. Homeschooling, here we go. Woo! No, but okay. First I need to prove that my kid's fucked up, you know. But that's not a problem. That's gonna be easy. So anyway, say bye and we can clear this up.
See you later, gang.
See you later, gang.